Have you ever wondered why some people seem to keep their inner strength, their dignity and their peace of mind, no matter what chaos surrounds them? What if the key to mastering your own life wasn't in what you show the world, but in what you quietly choose to protect within yourself? Today, I want to share with you a reflection that has guided me through the storms of my own life, and that can guide you as well. These are 5 truths about yourself that, once you learn to hold close and never casually share, will transform the way you navigate relationships, decisions, and even your own self-respect. Stay with me until the end, because understanding this could be the turning point in how you lead your life, how you guard your energy, and how you develop inner strength that no one can take from you. Before we dive in, I encourage you to subscribe and follow along, because cultivating wisdom and resilience is a journey, and every insight shared here is a step toward mastering your own path. Remember, as I have learned over long years of trial and reflection, true power often whispers where others expect to shout, and the strength to keep your peace is the strength to lead your life. Fear is a companion that follows all of us, often uninvited, yet profoundly instructive if we learn to listen. I have faced moments in my life when the weight of the world seemed to press down upon me, when the decisions I had to make could alter the course of countless lives. In those nights of solitude, I discovered that sharing every fear with others does not lighten it. It fragments it, scattering your power and leaving you vulnerable to judgment, misunderstanding, or false sympathy. The wise understand that fear is not a weakness to be confessed casually. It is a teacher to be studied in private. By observing it silently, you learn what truly matters, what you must protect, and where your courage must rise. Imagine how differently your life would flow if every trembling thought, every anxious heartbeat could be converted into quiet strength instead of public confession. That is the mastery of fear, turning inner unease into clarity of purpose. When you share your fears indiscriminately, you invite the world to step into your uncertainty, often leaving your resolve scattered across other people's interpretations and opinions. But when you hold them close, you learn to navigate them with a careful mind and a calm heart. I remember facing the possibility of failure, of leading men into situations fraught with danger and consequence, and I realized that my fears, if shared openly, would not have guided me. They would have distracted me. By keeping them private, I could reflect on each one, study its roots, and allow it to shape my judgment rather than dominate it. You too can practice this in your life. Reflect on the moments you felt afraid or overwhelmed, and consider how sharing that fear might have diluted your power. There is wisdom in silence, in observing your anxieties without immediately revealing them to the world, and in allowing them to become instruments of self-mastery. Fear is also deeply connected to your values. It signals what you care for, what you are willing to defend, and where your attention must lie. In my own experience, understanding my fears privately allowed me to act with empathy while maintaining firmness, to choose words carefully in moments of tension, and to make decisions that served the greater good rather than seeking immediate approval or reassurance. Life will test you, and often it will tempt you to reveal too much, to seek comfort in others' understanding. But strength is cultivated in the quiet space where you wrestle with your own doubts, where you examine the shadows in your mind, and where you let your fear guide your courage. By keeping your fears to yourself, you build a fortress of wisdom and resilience, one that cannot be dismantled by others' opinions or the chaos of circumstance. Ask yourself now, what fears have you revealed too freely, and how has that affected your sense of control and peace? Imagine the power of reclaiming them, of treating them as allies rather than burdens, and allowing that private strength to inform your every choice. There is no greater freedom than the freedom to act with awareness and composure, knowing that your fears serve you rather than rule you. Every great decision, every moment of clarity, every instance in which you maintain dignity under pressure is born in that quiet space where fear is studied, respected, and held close. Guard your fears not because they are shameful, but because they are sacred. They are the lens through which you understand your priorities, the compass that directs your courage, and the silent tutor of your character. Those who master this art move through life with a steadiness that inspires confidence, trust, and admiration in others, all while preserving the clarity and authority that only inner mastery can provide. By observing your fears privately, reflecting upon them deeply, and letting them guide your decisions without exposing them unnecessarily, You cultivate a strength that is invisible yet undeniable, a calm center from which all action flows. There is a quiet power in holding your intentions close, in nurturing your goals and dreams in the solitude of your own mind before unveiling them to the world. I have learned that the moment a plan is spoken too early, it becomes vulnerable to doubt, interference, and the unpredictable opinions of others. Many times in life, well-meaning voices can erode your confidence, and careless words can invite challenges that were never truly ready to confront. For you in your daily life, this may appear in subtle ways. Colleagues who undermine your initiatives, friends who question your motives, or even the fear that sharing your vision will somehow make it fail. By keeping your plans private, you protect the energy they require to flourish. You allow them to grow in strength, clarity, and purpose before they must face the external world. I have observed that the most effective leaders, the most resilient individuals, do not announce every intention. They cultivate their strategy quietly, like a tree growing in the shadow, and when the time is right, their actions speak louder than any premature declaration could. Consider how often your own ideas have been diluted because they were shared too soon. How many times have you revealed your ambitions only to find criticism, doubt, or distraction eroding your resolve? I can assure you that there is no greater safeguard for your aspirations than discretion. Holding your plans to yourself does not mean isolation. It means respect for the process of growth, for the time it takes for your efforts to mature, and for the unpredictable forces that can interfere when exposure comes too early. In my life, as I navigated the turmoil of leadership and the scrutiny of public expectation, I found that revealing my intentions prematurely often led to unnecessary conflict and delay. When I chose instead to cultivate ideas privately, to test them in thought and reflection, my decisions gained precision, my strategy gained resilience, and my actions carried the weight of conviction. This principle applies not only to grand ambitions, but also to the choices you make every day. From personal relationships to professional opportunities, there is an invisible strength in restraint. By reflecting carefully on what you wish to pursue, and by resisting the urge to announce it before it is ready, you give yourself the chance to act decisively when the moment arrives. The world may be impatient, noisy, and eager to know your next move, but the wise understand that timing, discretion, and measured action are far more powerful than immediate transparency. Every carefully guarded plan builds an internal reservoir of confidence, an inner authority that others can sense even if they do not understand its source. Ask yourself, right now, which of your ambitions are vulnerable to the noise of external opinion? Which goals could thrive if given the space to grow quietly, nourished by your own reflection and preparation? I urge you to honor those dreams by protecting them. Speak only when the moment is ripe. Let your results, your actions, and the natural unfolding of your choices demonstrate the truth of your vision. In this way, you cultivate not only success, but a calm, unwavering presence that commands respect, inspires trust, and allows your inner strength to lead without interference. The discretion of your plans is a quiet mastery over the forces of distraction and doubt, a private shield for the life you are building with intention, courage, and wisdom. It is a subtle, often misunderstood truth that the victories you achieve, the milestones you reach, and the successes you quietly earn are most powerful when kept close to your heart. I have witnessed throughout my life how the display of triumphs can invite envy, create false expectations, or even erode the humility that allows a person to continue learning. Sharing every achievement may seem natural, even admirable, but it can sometimes diminish the internal strength you have painstakingly cultivated. Consider your own experiences. How often have you observed someone flaunting their accomplishments, only to see that admiration turn into resentment or doubt? In contrast, when you allow your successes to remain largely unspoken, they act as silent proof of your resilience, your skill, and your patience. Others sense the weight of your achievements, not through announcements, but through the quiet confidence, integrity, and composure you carry in your presence. In my own life, I have learned to let results speak for themselves. When leading a nation through turbulent times, when making decisions that could affect millions, the measure of my work was never in the words I shared, but in the tangible changes that unfolded because of careful, deliberate action. Each decision, each small accomplishment, was a step toward a larger goal, yet I kept much of it private, nurturing it and learning from both success and failure without the interference of external judgment. You can apply this lesson to your own journey. Whether in your career, relationships, or personal growth, the quieter your celebration, the stronger the internal recognition becomes. You acknowledge your victories internally, reinforcing self-worth and discipline, while maintaining the humility that keeps your mind open and your heart steady. There is also a strategic wisdom in this practice. By not announcing every triumph, you avoid unnecessary competition and distraction. The world often responds not with joy, but with comparison, envy, or skepticism, and such reactions can distort your focus and weaken your resolve. Protecting your successes allows you to maintain clarity, to measure progress against your own standards rather than the approval of others. It fosters patience and resilience, teaching that the ultimate reward is not public acknowledgement, but the personal mastery and confidence that come from consistent effort and reflection. Ask yourself, how often have I measured my achievements through the lens of external recognition, rather than the quiet satisfaction of knowing I have done my best? What would change if you allowed your accomplishments to remain largely unspoken, revealing them only when they must inspire, guide, or serve a purpose beyond vanity? Furthermore, the restraint of sharing success cultivates a unique power. It creates respect without ego, influence without ostentation, and authority without the need for applause. People are drawn to those who act with quiet strength, who allow their actions to define them rather than their words. There is a profound lesson here. The less you feel compelled to prove, the more you command presence. Let your work, your dedication, and your results radiate naturally, and watch how others respond with respect, curiosity, and admiration. By keeping your victories private, you allow them to multiply in significance, building a reservoir of self-assurance and inner stability that no external force can diminish. The true mastery of success lies not in sharing it for recognition, but in letting it strengthen your character, guide your decisions, and fuel your quiet confidence. Regret is a shadow that follows all of us, sometimes quietly, sometimes with a sharp sting that reminds us of choices we wish we could undo. I have known this shadow intimately, from personal missteps to the burdens of decisions that affected not only myself, but countless others. And yet, in all those years, I discovered that sharing regret too openly rarely brings the relief one hopes for. The world listens unevenly, and often judgment overshadows understanding. Your mistakes, your moments of hesitation, your choices that didn't turn out as planned, these are yours to study, to understand, and to grow from. When you keep them close, you transform them into lessons rather than public confessions. The wise do not allow regret to become a spectacle. They allow it to become a teacher that shapes every future decision with quiet strength and clarity. Think about your own life. How often have your errors been magnified when you shared them too freely? And how might your growth have deepened if you had first reflected on them in private? There is also profound self-respect in holding your regrets privately. When you confront them silently, without performing your remorse for the audience, you develop an inner fortitude that others cannot grant or take away. You understand cause and effect intimately, you see the ripple of your actions, and you equip yourself to act differently in the future. I have observed that those who constantly vocalize their regrets often remain trapped in a loop, reliving the past, seeking validation or forgiveness, and delaying the personal transformation that comes from disciplined reflection. In contrast, those who examine regret quietly find a path forward with integrity and self-awareness. They convert the weight of what could have been into a foundation for what can be, building resilience with every step. Regret also serves another function when treated with discretion. It sharpens judgment. When you have wrestled alone with your past mistakes, without the interference of external commentary, you understand risk and consequence more profoundly. You learn to anticipate pitfalls, to value patience over impulsiveness, and to prioritize long-term growth over fleeting approval. Imagine the advantage of moving through life aware of your past missteps, but unshaken by the need to justify or explain them. Your focus sharpens, your decisions gain precision, and your confidence grows because it is rooted in understanding rather than performance. This is not isolation, it is wisdom. It is the cultivation of self-trust that allows you to act decisively, even under pressure, and to navigate challenges without the distracting echoes of outside opinion. Ask yourself now, Which regrets do you carry too publicly? And how might they be transformed into your greatest source of insight if held quietly, examined carefully, and allowed to teach without spectacle? There is no greater freedom than to confront your past with honesty while retaining control over what the world sees. By not broadcasting every regret, you protect your dignity, your focus, and your ability to lead yourself through life with purpose. The shadow of regret becomes a light only when it is studied privately, when it informs your choices, and when it strengthens your character rather than weakening your presence. In this quiet cultivation, you discover that mistakes are not failures. They are seeds of wisdom, waiting to grow into the courage and clarity that define a life well lived. We all have boundaries, capacities, and limits that define how far we can stretch without breaking. I have learned that revealing these openly can invite unnecessary pressure, manipulation, or lowered expectations. There is wisdom in knowing where you cannot be stretched, in understanding the edges of your strength, and in keeping them private. When you honor your limits in silence, you preserve your energy and maintain control over your decisions. In your life, this might appear as refusing to disclose how much you can endure at work, in relationships, or in personal struggles. Sharing too much may create obligations you cannot meet or expectations that weigh you down. By holding your limits close, you gain freedom to act thoughtfully, to choose where to invest your energy, and to protect your inner peace. Understanding your limits is not weakness, it is strategy. It allows you to navigate life with honesty toward yourself, while keeping your influence and dignity intact. Others may sense your quiet strength, even if they do not know the boundaries you maintain, and they will respect you for it. The wise use this knowledge to act with intention, not to justify inaction, but to preserve clarity, focus, and self-mastery. Now, having reflected together on these 5 things a wise man never shares, his fears, his plans, his successes, his regrets, and his limits, you may see a pattern emerge. Each is not hidden out of shame, but preserved out of respect for oneself, for the delicate balance of inner strength, and for the clarity that allows a person to act with purpose. I want you to take a moment and imagine how different your life could be if you applied this principle. Holding what matters most with care, reflecting before revealing, and letting your inner mastery guide your choices rather than the immediate reactions of others. This is not secrecy. This is strategy, discipline, and a profound respect for the power within you. It is the quiet force that allows you to move through life with confidence, resilience, and dignity. Think about the challenges you face now, the difficult conversations, the decisions that weigh heavily, the ambitions and dreams you fear exposing too early. By keeping your most important inner truths guarded, you gain freedom to act decisively, to respond with calm instead of impulse, and to influence the world with a strength that others sense, even if they do not see its source. Each of these 5 elements, when held thoughtfully, becomes a tool for personal leadership, emotional intelligence, and self-mastery. It is in this quiet, deliberate cultivation that you build a life of impact, presence, and respect, for yourself first, and for all those who cross your path. If you have found even a fraction of insight in this reflection, I encourage you to subscribe and engage with this channel. Doing so is more than support. It is a commitment to your own growth, a step toward mastering the art of reflection and self-control, and an affirmation that you are ready to act on wisdom rather than impulse. By cultivating patience, discretion, and inner strength, you not only change the way you navigate your own life, but you inspire others without speaking a single word. Remember, the power of restraint, the careful guarding of your inner world, is the power that shapes your destiny. Carry these truths with you, let them guide your decisions, and walk forward with the quiet confidence that comes from knowing that your most valuable self is never revealed lightly, but always lived fully.